Welcome to Gene and Mike do the New York Times crossword.
Hi, I'm Jean.
And I'm Mike. And today we are doing the crossword for Tuesday, August 27th, 2024. So, on a day that is reasonably close to the end of August.
Yep.
Did you do the crossword?
I did.
And was it a splendid almost end of August crossword for you?
Well, I guess you could call it that.
Okay. It's a little bit of a mouthful, but we'll call it that.
Okay.
If I could even remember the phrase that I just uttered to repeat it.
It was a bad puzzle.
Okay.
Didn't you think it was a bad puzzle?
I see. This is some sort of a reference to the theme.
Yes, it is.
But no, I did not think it was a bad crossword. At all.
It had a bad theme.
Yes, it did. Why don't you explain why that is the case?
Okay. Well, throughout the puzzle, there were a series of shaded squares on either side of a black square. So like in the third row, there were 3 shaded squares and then a black square and 3 more shaded squares. And there were 5 different places where that was the case, where there were 3 or 4 or 5 shaded squares on either side of a black square. And the revealer, I'm going to start with the revealer because I think that will make it simpler, was a 68 across. Messy end to a relationship or a hint to this puzzle's shaded squares. And the answer to that was bad breakup.
Right.
Bad.
Got it. Bad.
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 And if you answered the puzzle correctly, the shaded squares would spell out a word that was related to being bad or was a synonym of bad. The first one was 17 across and 18 across. The last 3 letters of 17 across, which was mathematician Benoit Mandelbrot. That was Mandelbrot. That's what you had to fill in there. Mathematician Benoit blank, coiner of the word fractile. And the answer was Mandelbrot. So the last 3 letters were R-O-T. And then 18 across, shelter that's pitched. And those 3 letters were T-E-N. So if you put those together, you get rotten.
Right.
Okay, and then we had that again with 26 across. Philosophically noncommittal was agnostic, and the last 2 letters were shaded. And then the next clue right next to it by a shaded square or by a black square, was a 30 across, former capital of Japan, which was Kyoto.
Yes.
And the first 2 letters, KY, were shaded. So you had IC and KY, which is icky.
Right.
With a black square breaking them apart.
Yep.
Okay. We also had a line where there were actually 3 clues, and the black square spelled out malignant. And then we had one where we had 3 on one side and 2 on the other, shaded squares, and they turned out to be hated. And then finally, there were 2 black squares and 2 shaded squares, a black square and 3 shaded squares, and those spelled out nasty.
Right.
So we had rotten, icky, malignant, hated, and nasty in the shaded squares. All examples of bad breakups.
Yes. Very well explained.
Thank you.
Wonder if the person who wrote this was just in a bad mood when they constructed it.
Oh, I don't think so, because there were a lot of funny clues too. So I thought it was actually very well done.
Yes.
It had a bad theme about being bad, but it was a good puzzle.
Yeah, I agree. They started with one across being campy rock subgenre of the early 1970s. And I was immediately going to write down glam, and then for some reason I started doubting myself, but it was glam.
I immediately wrote down glam.
Really?
I like the one under it, though. 14 across, social activity that one tries to get out of, escape room.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
I was thinking, visit to in-laws or
Sure.
stuff like that, but no, escape room.
Yep.
No.
And we just had rage rooms the other day.
That's
so.
right. That's right.
Rage rooms followed by an escape room. Mm-hmm. And getting back to 17 across, the mathematician Benoit Blanc, coiner of the word fractal, Mandelbrot, that was the one gimme for me.
Really?
It's just like, yes, I love Mandelbrot sets.
Why?
They're just so colorful. I mean, they're mathematically very interesting, but they're just wonderful to look at. And with these fractals, you have like this picture, and if you zoom in on the picture, you just sort of see the same picture and keep zooming in, and you see the same thing sort of being echoed as you dive into it. It's really quite interesting.
Well, that was the one non-gimme for me. I had no idea who that was. Mm-hmm. So I had to get it with the down clues, which were pretty easy.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Let's see. 22 across. You're the one that I want for one. And the answer was duet.
Yes.
And I went to listen to that duet. Apparently it's played by John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John.
That is correct.
In Greece.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just listening to a little bit of it, but John Travolta seems to have a very high voice.
I don't know.
Either that or it was Olivia Newton-John who was singing both parts. But I was just sort of surprised. It's just like, I didn't realize his voice was that high. Mm-hmm. But
he made that movie when he was much younger than he is now.
You're saying he hadn't hit puberty yet? It looked like he'd hit puberty.
No, he had definitely hit puberty, but maybe his voice has gotten lower and more gravelly as he's aged. Who knows?
All those cigarettes must do it to you. Mm-hmm. I was sorry to say I did not recall 36 across the cornmeal cake in Colombian cuisine, arepa.
I didn't remember that one either.
Really?
Nope.
Okay, because it looked vaguely Spanish, so I wanted to write otro, but held myself back.
No,
I know. And then 21 down, the Stark daughter on Game of Thrones, Arya.
Ara, I think they...
Really? Okay, because it's Arya.
Right, Ara.
I sort of like Arya.
Or Arya. Yeah,
Arya?
Arya.
Are you ready to watch Game of Thrones? But I didn't remember that one either.
Oh,
no, I've never seen.
I did remember, even though I've never watched Game of Thrones. But you just heard so much about the characters and things from social media.
Well, you did.
I did, yes. Mm-hmm.
And let's see, what else here? 38 across. Epigram or elegy was a poem.
That's correct.
I thought that was pretty good.
Yes. I got a chuckle with 50 across, fashion designer in The Incredibles, Edna Mode.
Yep.
That was one of my favorite Disney characters.
I wrote down Edna Node.
Oh.
Because I'd been doing a lot of getting ready for classes, thinking about data structures, and they have these things called nodes. Mm-hmm. And so it's just like Edna, and I already had the N of Edna, so I just kept going. So I had Edna Node, which meant that 51 down, not automatic, was manual. And I thought, that doesn't sound right, but manual and mode would do much better.
So, one thing I am sorry to say I forgot was 62 across, COVID-19 slangily. And it was Rona. I'm like, what did they call it? I never called it by its slang name. I always called it COVID, but I know some people called it Rona.
Well, it used to be COVID-19, and then it became COVID. Actually, it was coronavirus.
Yeah.
And then COVID-19, and then COVID, and at some point it became Rona.
I never called it Rona.
I'm assuming that, they called it coronavirus, but originally the name was probably Lord Coronavirus Esquire, and they cut that down.
Could have been.
Maybe. Perhaps it was Lady Coronavirus. I don't know really about the gender of these things. Did you know, let's see, 29 down, being the True Blank, a podcast genre, and there was True Crime.
I did know that, yes.
Have you listened to True Crime?
I have.
Really? Any good? Do you recommend it?
Well, I mean, it's a genre, but there's various podcasts that talk about true crime.
Right.
Yes. And
you're quite right. It isn't just one podcast.
Right. But I have listened to some of those true crime podcasts, and they're very interesting. But in a way, you kind of feel badly because you're listening to somebody's, tragic experience in their life, or somebody they know has been murdered, or
it couldn't just be
trafficked or something. It's like you're sort of prying into somebody's personal tragedy, and so I don't really listen to them much anymore. But they are very interesting. So,
Well, I mean, there are a lot of podcasts that are just like, for example, the BBC has Witness History, and they talk about crime, and it's true crime.
Yeah.
But it's just that the narrator doesn't generally have a personal involvement. They're just reporting on something that happened.
Well, these are reporters, but they're interviewing people who were involved in the crime or the tragedy of the crime.
Right.
And so very interesting, but not everyone's cup of tea, I am sure.
Right. Vaguely close to that, 46, Dan, was fallout, and the answer was damage. That just did not occur to me. I started thinking about fallout, and I started thinking about nuclear waste, and so I couldn't. It took me a while to get into damage.
Well, yeah, but they talk about, what was the fallout?
What was the damage?
Decision?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
After I got it, I sort of agreed. I mean, it made sense, but. Did you know 47 Across, the sitcom narrator Mosby or Mosby? It was Ted.
Ted Mosby.
Ted Mosby?
Yeah, that was a comedy called How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We may have had this conversation before.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
All right.
Did you know a 49 down, Pyramus beloved in myth?
No, I couldn't remember it.
Thisbe. I don't remember it from myth. I remember it from Shakespeare, from Midsummer's Night's Dream, where the band of actors come and they act out the tragedy of Pyramus and Thisbe. And it's very, very funny. It's supposed to be very serious, but it turns out to be extremely funny. And I just remember, Thisbe, Pyramus. And they're talking to each other as the characters, but not at all serious.
Well, Thisbe has shown up a total of 16 times in the New York Times crossword. It first showed up, though, in 1945, the legendary Maiden of Babylon. And in almost every single clue except one, it was a relationship to Pyramus.
Right.
Only in 1967 was it clued as if blank treason, if this be treason.
Oh.
So, all right. Well, I think that's it for the crossword. A very nice crossword by Julia Hopner. But it is Tuesday.
That is true.
Which means it's time for a Triplet Tuesday. And for new listeners and old listeners with bad memories, Triplet Tuesday is where one of us reads 3 clues to the other. The answer to all 3 clues is one 3-letter answer, and the object is to guess that answer in as few clues as possible. We do it 3 times, hence the name Triplet Tuesday. We always encourage listeners to play along, so get ready to hit the pause button after I've uttered the clue and see if you can beat Jean to the punch.
Right.
She's right now, she's in her training shorts and she's sort of doing some sort of wind-up exercises where she's rubbing her head.
Yeah.
Okay, I made that part up.
Yes, he did.
But here we go. You ready?
Yep.
All right. Let's see here. While.
While?
Correct.
While. Could you spell that, please?
Yes. W-H-I-L-E.
Oh, okay. So while, like a while. A while. Min.
Nope.
Oh.
Stick.
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 Stick. We just had that. Sticky.
We had sticky. Now we're down to stick.
Stick. Well, that's corny. That's in a skit. Stick. It's corny. It's Oh, it's not witty. It's not wry. It's corny. Old.
Nope.
No.
0 or 1 digitally.
0 or 1 digitally?
Yes.
That's a code. It's code.
Specifically a 0 or 1 digitally.
Is this like a computer thing?
It is.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know anything about computer programming, so I mean, I know it's done in zeros and ones, but
What do you call those zeros and ones?
0 and 1. I don't know.
Bit.
Bit.
Yep. I'm sorry. I figured you'd hone in on that one.
No, I'm not a computer scientist. I'm sorry.
So
Bit, shtick, bit.
And while in a bit.
Like a bit, little bit. Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. Well, listeners, we hope you did better than Gene on that one. All right.
And if you didn't, I'd like to know too.
That's right.
'Cause I was like,
Please,
huh?
cheer up. All right, here we go. Hopefully this won't be quite as boy, I just thought you'd get that last one. Okay. Truncheon.
I'm sorry.
Truncheon.
Truncheon? I don't even know what that is. So I'll just pass on that one. Truncheon, spelled
Truncheon.
I pass. I don't know.
Okay. Ash product.
Ash product.
Yes.
Something made with ashes. Something made, maybe with ash tree. What's made with ash? Ash. I don't know.
Okay.
For something like a chair. I mean, I suppose a lot of things are made with ash trees. Something with 3 letters. Ash. Oh, boy. I can't think of anything made of wood that's 3 letters. I don't know.
Okay. Dracula's alternative form.
Bat.
Bat.
Okay.
All right. Nicely done. So obviously the ash product was a bat.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And what's a truncheon? A bat?
A truncheon is like something the police use to hit people over the head when they want to try and control them in riots.
Oh, okay.
It's a bat, I guess.
Uh-huh.
All right.
No, I'm not doing too well today.
No, well, maybe I think I might have made this too hard. Sorry. Online chatter.
Online chatter. Online chatter. Pod.
No.
Like podcast. No, I don't know.
One stymied by security questions, say.
Bot.
Right.
Okay.
Ooh, nicely done. Your third one was program that spits out spam.
Oh, I wouldn't have known that.
Really?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
You just got too techie for me tonight.
I don't know if a truncheon is too techie, but so well, you see, I don't know if you noticed the theme: bit, bat, and bot.
Oh.
I had a theme for Triplet Tuesday.
Wow.
I figure we can have a theme in the crossword. We can have a theme in Triplet Tuesday.
And you would call that theme the B blank T theme?
The BT theme.
Okay.
All right. Well, wow. Give yourself a hand. All right, that is it for today then. So thanks everyone for listening. Remember, you can always get a hold of us and tell us how you did on Triplet Tuesday by dropping us a line, crosswordpodcast@icloud.com.
Probably better than me.
Was I too cruel? Let me know at that same address, or you can also reach us at our fan mail link, which is in the show notes. That's it for today. We'll be back again with our cutting edge analysis of tomorrow's crossword tomorrow.
Bye-bye.